Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing using your PLR to create a coaching program. Now another great way to use PLR is to create and maintain a coaching program. Now since you're going to want to have a lot of resources for your customers to learn from, you're also going to want to have resources for them to use. And of course, you can purchase PLR for both of those purposes, both for them to learn from and for them to use. Now you want to make sure that you're going to get high quality vendors of written content especially. And then when you're using that content to give your students or your customers direction, you may have to tweak that content to fit the customer and the context they're in to move them from where they are at that particular time to the point B that they need to go in. So of course, if that's the case, you can't assume that the content that you're purchasing for your students can be used as is. Again, you've got to fit it not only in the context of your niche and the customer, but also where they are at the present time in your coaching program. You want to take time to prepare before each individual coaching session to make sure that you've created the necessary content to move them forward in that session. Now in this case, PLR is going to give you leverage from having to do the research as well as creating the components for your students to have for that session. And it is your job to make sure that each component that you give away in that session fits the context of that session. Now depending on the rights package you buy, you may want to use some of your PLR to give to your students the assets they need in order to execute your method. In other words, your method is probably going to be different in telling your student to do something than other people or other instructional methods. That means then that you're going to want to make sure that the content fits your method, that it is individual to what you say and what you have been teaching. And as is the case in any method, you want to make sure to use PLR in order to fill any gap in your knowledge or ability to teach the subject. That's always a good idea to use PLR to teach basic subjects that your customer needs to know, but that you don't have time to teach. For example, you may want to talk about a method that requires your customer to have a website. However, you don't want to spend your coaching time on website building. So this is a great time to use PLR videos in order to give to your customer as a reference in case he or she doesn't know how to build their own site. Now, coaching programs are always going to focus on the solution that you sold them in the sales page, and PLR should be used to cover the basic skills necessary to execute that solution. Now, if what you're doing is coaching someone on a specific topic, one of the best ways to get the information for them to prepare for that topic is for you to use PLR. In some cases, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be giving that member content, and then you're going to be tailoring it during your session to fit your program. Other cases, you're going to teach that actual content. And in that case, the best thing to do is to arrange the content into PowerPoint slides for you to present on a webinar or in some kind of online meeting that you're using in order to administer your coaching program. Now, another aspect of providing coaching artifacts is to give your students something to do between live sessions. What this means is that you will need to repurpose components like checklists and mind maps into step-by-step processes. What you'll also want to do then is to think about getting PLR video courses that show those intermediate steps between the points on your checklists and your mind maps. So let's go back to this example where we are going to be considering teaching on building a website, but we don't want to take the time to teach that part of the course. And of course, we're talking about then purchasing a set of videos that would teach us how to set up that WordPress website and use that as a bonus and put that along in our video course. Now, here's the only way that that really works in a coaching program. We've got to make sure that the video we purchase is an extremely high quality program. It's got to really give our students the same level of instruction that we will want them to have from us. We don't want to just give them a video course just for the sake of having a bonus or because it's easy. It's only going to give us leverage if it's at a level of something that we would actually buy, and definitely something that we would want to pass on to our customer. Now, following this, in any coaching program, we want our students to be able to take action on our suggestions. And the best way to do that is to give them the content and components with some of the steps already done for them. So not only are we giving them assets to do, we're going to actually go the next step in doing some of the process for them and giving it to them partially done so that they can have success or that they can overcome some of the barriers that they might have. It's a great role for PLR as long as we have the rights to the component to use them that way. And so PLR has a lot of variation in it that we can actually manipulate in order to give our customer contextually a way to succeed in our coaching program. As long as we're willing, number one, to give them the highest quality, and number two, to make sure it fits the context, and number three, to make sure that the intermediate steps are not the things that we focus on, but that we use PLR to bring our buyer up through those intermediate steps to our solution where our coaching takes over. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.